Beware, beware, be skeptical. But the smiles, the plated gold. Deceit so natural. But a wolf in sheep's clothing is more than a warning. Bow, bow, black sheep, have you any soul? No, sir, by the way, what the hell are mortal? Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
All right, welcome back. We're on Black Sheep Christians Network. So, we were talking about the Antichrist the other day, a little bit.
You were talking about the
I
Antichrist.
was talking about it. I brought it up to you to see what you thought. And asked you if you had listened to this stuff with Joe Rogan and Terrence Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And, I listened to Terrence Howard, and he is he's definitely got some crazy ideas, right? And everybody's talking about him right now. The problem I have is he's got millions and millions of views, and he's influencing people with what he's teaching. Now, he doesn't believe in God.
He seems really smart, though. The stuff that he talks about.
Stupid smart.
I don't know whether or not he's accurate, but
he's at least got it all memorized.
He's selling it really well. If it's true,
he's
great.
definitely selling it,
if
right?
If it's a lie, he's selling it good.
So, my thing is he doesn't believe in God. He talks about this flower of life and how it... the wave conjugations and all of that stuff that he's come up with. And he's got all these patents.
Yeah, he said he has 97 patents.
Yeah.
What was the flower of life?
The flower of life is the oldest known. He says 10,000 years. But civilization doesn't go back that far. I know that everybody wants it to. I think civilization probably goes back to 6,000 years, roughly, with Adam and Eve.
No, they think it goes back further than that.
Further than Adam and Eve?
Yeah, I think it's something like 6,500
Civilization.
BC. So that'd be like 8,500 years.
Civilization,
yeah.
Mankind,
yeah.
goes back older than Adam and Eve.
Oh, it goes back older than Adam and Eve. Well, humankind? As far as what I believe?
Mankind, human.
Well, but there have been other skeletons that have been brought out. There could have been some other civilizations that existed.
So,
but our existence, that
with
matters?
soul life.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing with soul life, because soul life didn't come about until Adam and Eve in Genesis. So whatever was here before did not have soul life that we have. God created Nefesh Kai, right?
Possibly. I don't know.
Which is soul life.
I'm not going to say yes or no to that because
it's in Genesis.
You do think it's impossible for
great whales?
We're going off on a tangent now, but do you think it's impossible that God could have created like another soul life existence out there, but it's not in our Bible?
I just know that.
I just think it's a possibility. It's just not important to us.
It's not written in His Word. And does His Word pertain only to...
But that word was only written to us. We know that because only we were able to put it down on paper or a stone, whatever. It was humans that were able to write it. God didn't physically write it. Humans wrote it.
Right.
So if humans are writing it, then it's for humans. It's God's word written through humans for humans.
Other than those Sumerian... He's talking about the Sumerian tablets.
I'm just saying, we don't take our Bible and read it to a dog and expect the dog to understand.
But we're talking about... he's talking about the Sumerian tablets that date back 10,000 years. I don't agree that they date back that far.
Okay.
I don't think that... I mean, I'm not saying you don't have a point that there is the possibility. We would be naive to say there's not the possibility of that, right? Mm-hmm. But going back to Adam and Eve, I don't believe that's older than 6,000 years altogether. 4,000 since Adam and Eve to Jesus.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure. I thought it was a little bit older than that. I thought we were somewhere around like 8,500 years now, if you go back genealogically. But I don't know. And
If you go to 2000, the year 2000, Jesus Christ's birthday was
2000 was 24
3
years ago.
BC.
Okay, 2000 was 24 years ago.
So 2000, 24 years ago. I mean, it's still not 100 years after, So we're probably no more than 6,500 years. Right? Civilization. I mean, I don't know how they date things.
I can't agree with you unless I can go in there and look at it and see it.
Right.
But I say 8,500 years. You say 6,500 years.
Well, I'm talking about
we'll
the
say somewhere in that.
I'm talking about if you go by the genealogies that are listed
Right.
in the scriptures, it's
Right, but then you also have to
6,000, roughly 6,000.
Yeah.
Okay, 24 years.
But it's more complicated than that because you have to take into account their calendar years
No,
opposed to our calendar years.
that's only using their calendar.
Yeah, using their calendar years.
Yeah, that's not taking into account the calendar that we have that was done by the Pope.
You know, North Koreans are born at 1 year old. The day you're born, you're 1 year old.
I heard that.
Oh, okay. Anyways,
That has a lot to do with what we're talking about. But anyway, getting back to what he's teaching crazy stuff. And in my mind, and the reason that I thought of him as far as the possibility, not saying he is, the guy is so likable. When you listen to him, even if you think he's a jackass, even if you think he's far out in left field, he is just super easy to listen to, very nice, very polite.
beautiful
And
eyes.
Beautiful eyes, is that what you said? But you're drawn to him. Even if you don't agree with him, right? Because there's people out there that are Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks he's just a moron. And this
I think Neil
science
deGrasse
guy
Tyson.
Dave
I think he's got an ego. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't like
I
him.
can't stand listening to him.
I don't like him at all. I think he's bought and paid for.
I just think he has an
honest.
ego. He thinks that he's the smartest person around.
Yeah. But the reason that I think that some of the attributes of what the Antichrist would be is somebody that brings about a false peace. That you made the point the other day that they would have to at least claim to believe in God, whether they do inside or not.
Well, I said that, and then I kind of bounced back on what I said because the Antichrist would believe in God. However, I also believe that the Antichrist would believe in God, but make you think that he doesn't.
Right. Right. So, yes, they would have to believe. They would have to know that there's a God.
Yeah.
Right? They would have to know
At least
the
know
one
that
true
there's
God.
God.
It says it in James. Even the devil spirits know that there's one God. So it does back that up in James. I just think that what this guy is doing and how eloquent he is with his speech. One video was like 8 million views, and he's drawing in, I don't even know how many people. I mean, it's millions upon millions of people are tuning in to what he's teaching. And so we know that there's going to be wars and all this stuff coming. And, you listen to him. The people that he focuses in on and learns from, his idols, are Nikola Tesla, who we shunned. And look at what he did. I can't think of some of the other ones, but
A lot of people in history that were shunned turned out to be
dead on, right?
Yeah.
So the guy that
Christ was shunned.
exactly
Martin Luther was shunned.
right.
Yeah.
So when you look at what was the guy's name that he's talking about? He redid the periodic table. You remember? when you listen to that.
The original periodic?
No, yeah, he redid the periodic table, and because it's got sound.
I don't remember his name. Yeah,
They use sound.
Yeah.
But I have
It's
that
like William something.
Yeah. Yeah, what is his name? God, did I do his name? Let me see. Walter. Is it Walter?
Yeah,
Is it Walter Russell?
Walter Russell, that's it.
Periodic
Walter
table.
Russell, yeah.
You know, if you look him up, and
did he have Element 115? Not when he did it.
I don't.
That would have had to
know.
come later. Never mind. Yeah, Walter Russell.
But you know, I've looked at some of this stuff, and now the spiritual side I don't agree with. Right? I don't agree with half the shit that he says. Now, of course, I'm nobody. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a physicist. I'm just a Christian that, you know, might be a heretic because of what I believe. But this guy, some of the stuff makes so much logic on what he's trying to show, other than the spiritual side. I don't agree with him on the spiritual side at all. But I think that the reason I think that this type of person could be the Antichrist is because of he just draws people in, and he's so nice and eloquent with his speech that you want to hear more. I mean, I can say that for me, I wanted to hear more of what he was saying. I'm trying to find the picture that I have of this thing. If I can find it. Yeah. So this is, I mean, I'll put it on here. I don't know if you can. This is the. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's the periodic table that the guy did that he's using. But you know, the thing of it is
looks a lot like the DNA strand.
It does look a lot like the DNA strand. But when he covers this stuff, you know, the critics don't understand what he's saying. You know, I watched a couple of people today that are basically just bashing the shit out of this guy, right? And I don't care. Terrence Howard knows something, right? I don't have to agree with everything, but there's some shit that he knows that nobody else knows.
Yeah, the way he speaks about the stuff, he knows something.
Now, whether or not it turns into something that is going to be this next level event,
there's definitely some truth there. I just don't know how much of it is actually true.
I think so.
There's enough for him to remember and know and have studied. For him, like, because the numbers that he was pulling off, the names that he's studied a lot. He has his stuff memorized.
Oh yeah.
You don't memorize BS.
He has a website that he has.
You can't
shit.
patent bullshit, right? Like patents have to have some sort of evidence for them, right?
I got a trademark. For our shirts.
Yeah.
And what I had to go through for a freaking simple trademark to get my logo trademarked was ridiculous. I had to have 3 evidence of proof of how that design came about and how it was going to be used. Just for a trademark on a logo.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, let me see. I downloaded his book.
Who, Terrence Howard's book?
Yeah, he's got a book.
Yeah, he was talking about it in the podcast.
But I don't know where it is.
I'd be interested to read it. You know, I could slow down his words inside my head.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, and he's getting a star for whatever they give, you know, the movie stars for, you know, on that Walk of Fame or whatever. And
he's very talented. I like his movies.
He's explaining to them why he's done acting, right? And they don't even know how to respond to the guy. Because he's like, yeah, this wave conjugation that I came up with, I've got a patent on, whatever he says, you know?
That was some of the things that was weird. Do you remember him saying at the very beginning of the podcast, do you remember him talking about how he remembers being in his mother's womb?
In his mother's womb. So I call bullshit on that. So he believes in reincarnation. He believes that he already learned this stuff from a previous life. That's why he believes that. So he believes in this spirit being or this being or whatever it is that he believes. It's not God, though. That's the problem. That's why I believe that his influence, I don't know that the Antichrist will be a claimed Christian. Some believe that the Antichrist will be Muslim.
Well, he studied to be a not Mormon, a Jehovah's Witness. He was studying to be a Jehovah's Witness. I mean, he did say that on the podcast.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to watch the whole podcast.
Yeah, he like roughly mentioned that when he was speaking about an ex-girlfriend of his, and he was studying at the time to be a Jehovah's Witness. That's all. But Christian, I don't remember him saying anything about professing to be a Christian. He would talk about God, but more like in a way that God is, and maybe I'm confusing this with a different podcast. You know, I might be, so I'm not even going to say anything after that.
I don't think he believes in God at all. I think he believes more in... It's almost like Tom
that's what I was going
Cruise.
to say, is that I'm pretty sure there were a couple of times that he does mention God, but he says it in a way of like higher being.
Right.
Like, higher being is different for everybody.
Yes.
Like it was almost like it was a blanket term.
Right. He's more in tune with, like Tom Cruise is in Scientology. It's about you becoming this higher power, this higher state of being, and being like the elite out there.
Well, and there's aliens in that religion too. It's kind of cool. I'm thinking about switching.
Of course you are. I mean, shit. We don't know. I mean, I believe, you know, this is a whole other can of worms, but I believe that the aliens that everybody's going to, because Terrence Howard talks about aliens as well, I believe that those are devil spirits, fallen angels.
Terrence Howard might be an alien. Elon Musk could be an alien. What if all the greats, Napoleon Bonaparte was an alien?
All the great ones, huh?
There's remember me talking to you? It was months ago about man, what is his name? Bob something. Bob
Saget, he died.
No, not Bob Saget. Maybe it wasn't Bob. Dude, they got man. He was the one that like invented. He was a propulsion expert, propulsion scientist who put some sort of jet engine on a Honda back in the 80s.
Yes, I do remember you talking to me
And then he worked
for
he was working over there at Area 51 or some part right off of Area 51 to do back engineering on some recovered craft that we had.
Right.
Man, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about how and the way he spoke about it too. There's an interview of him talking about it where he doesn't even believe what he's saying, but he, like, you could tell he was like, okay, fine. It was what they believe is they believe that at least the people that were in charge of him that gave him the work to do, they told him that the beings that they were supposed to be, like these alien beings, see us as like he didn't say anything about souls, but as like cages, I guess. Like our bodies, our humans, like we're cages.
Vessels.
That was it. Vessels. They talked about.
I do recall that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember you saying that to me.
And then he was asked for what, like souls, and he was like, probably, maybe.
Somebody else believes that too. I can't remember who else told me that.
There's a belief somewhere in the government. Yeah, there's certain people. There's some belief in the government that believe that these aliens that come to visit us regularly are so interested in us because they see us as vessels.
Well, I believe that they're talking about the aliens more and more because I got two things. I believe that they're talking about the aliens more and more because I believe that the devil You go back to the Nephilim in the Old Testament, right? Mm-hmm. So the Nephilim had to have given ideas and technology. Because, I mean, come on. You can't have the technology to build the pyramids and build the Sphinx and build all this other stuff and not figure out how to get that technology back today. That's just why. Why haven't they been able to reproduce any of that stuff?
Well, like the Great Pyramids?
Yeah.
That are said to have been built 45,000 years ago?
Right.
But we've only been around for 6,500 years?
I think that they were built... Well, no, I'm not talking about that.
But there's things like that.
But I think that they could be that old because I think that they were built by the devil spirits. I believe that they were built by the fallen angels. I don't think they were built by man.
There's 3 pyramids that replicated in South America that are on like the same trajectory.
Yeah. Well, remember, it was all one landmass. I don't care where that was. Pangea was one landmass. It didn't separate until the Bible says,
right.
in the days of
it said,
whatever the earth was divided.
And he was named Pele because in his
Pele,
days
yeah.
the earth was divided.
Yeah, yeah. So it was all one landmass. So it's no wonder why there's all these pyramids that are all over. There's one they found in Antarctica. So if it's one landmass, then yeah. But I believe devil spirits may have had a hand in building all that stuff. Because there's no way that
they said
done it.
They said that the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Great Pyramid of Giza, that it was created with limestone that came from like 200 miles away.
Right.
And like those huge blocks of limestone from a quarry 200 miles away.
Right.
And how would they get that there?
Well, if you have anti-gravity or
logs, put logs underneath the big block, and
you're
then you
still
got
not
elephants.
You're not getting it.
Dinosaurs were pretty big back then. The dinosaurs could have. You seen those dogs that pick up those big old bones that they can barely hold up, and they try to go through a fence?
I have. Yep.
Maybe a T-Rex was grabbing a hold of these limestones.
There are people that believe that. There are people that believe that dinosaurs existed in Noah's time. I mean, that's answers in Genesis. They believe there was dinosaurs on the frickin' ark.
Well, there's also people that believe that there were no dinosaurs at all.
But they believe that there's dinosaurs on the ark.
Yeah.
So where's all the human fossils?
Maybe that's why Noah's Ark crashed. Maybe there were dinosaurs on there.
And they were heavy?
And they were too heavy.
They ate everybody?
Could be.
Anyway, back to my second point. Just looking at some of the nonsense that's out there. But Terrence Howard has all this knowledge that to some is, wow, this epiphany. And it is, really, when you listen to him talk, right? But to others that know way more than I do,
there's a lot of them.
They're like, thanks you for that.
It's both of us.
Yeah. But to the physicist, to the scientist, to the mathematician, they're all like, this guy's a nut job. I don't think he's a nut job. I think that somehow, he got this technology, and probably devil spirits, probably the fallen angels, the Nephilim, whatever you want to call it. He has this technology that who knows where it's going to lead, but he's trying to get it out there, and they're going to shut him up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to shut him up because he's probably onto something. I mean, I don't know, but you can't be that knowledgeable of something and then have it be nothing.
Well, a lot of stuff that he was talking about, which was true, and I pointed this out to you when you first brought him up, and before I listened to the podcast, we were talking about how the Earth has a resonance, right? It has there's a key that the Earth resonates.
The frequency, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 432 hertz, I think, is what it was.
Right.
432 hertz, which is somewhere in the key of A. It's somewhere in that
in
range.
in those octaves.
Yeah.
Because he talks a lot about the different octaves.
At least that's what he said. I need to go back and look at it because I could have swore that it was more like a G flat, which is close to, because you have A and then right below A, then there's G, right? So G flat. I thought it was somewhere in the G flat. No, hold on. No, I would have thought that it was somewhere in the. It doesn't matter. Could be somewhere in the key of, somewhere in the A.
That's our
Key of
dog.
A. Now there is, outside of that though, I was listening months ago. I was listening to this other. I was listening to this other group of like scientists or whatever you want to call them that were, man, that is distracting. What the fuck was I talking about?
The octaves and the keys and the frequency
Okay.
and all that shit. But
where was
hold
that
on a
going?
minute.
Where was I going with that though? Okay, so the Earth and
The sound, the
it
frequency
resonates
of the
in-
Earth. Yeah.
yeah, it resonates in 432 hertz. So outside of that, there is a group of there's a group of scientists, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they are, astrophysicists, whatever they are. They're figuring out that you can make something move based on vibrations given off by frequencies and sounds, stuff like that. That you can actually make something move from one area to another area.
Sure.
But their ideas are still like in the patent form, and it cannot be discussed or talked about for a while. They were also on Rogan, the guy that I was listening to, and this is months ago, but he couldn't talk about much. But what Terrence Howard was talking about was kind of alluding to that, and then also what that dude's name. God dang, the alien dude that worked at Area 51.
I'm glad we write stuff down. It's
Man,
all off the cuff.
I
mean,
usually have his name memorized. I just can't think of it right now. I could have swore it was Bob something. Bob.
It's not
It
Saget.
doesn't matter. No, but he had to look at this cube, which is, it's either element 115 or element 119. It was like a brand new element. I think it's 115. This like cube that was part of the thing that he had like back engineer.
Right.
Was how does this thing
Reverse.
how does it holds up the entire aircraft, and there's a
Is
possibility.
it anti-gravity?
Anti-gravity. It does not work in the field of gravity at all. So Terrence Howard is talking about how gravity doesn't even really exist.
Well, he's saying
Yeah.
what Terrence Howard is saying is that gravity is not a law.
Yeah.
It's not the law of gravity. It's an effect.
So, which makes sense to me because I've kind of always said that, like, I don't know.
If you say that though, then Carlos is going to be like, "See, the Earth is flat."
No. But here's the thing: is that to a point, I believe that gravity does exist because it's been measured.
No, he doesn't
around
say
the
it
world.
doesn't exist. He just says it's not a law.
Right. It can't be a law because it's not constant throughout the Earth. There's a place in Canada where it
Correct.
has more of a gravitational pull.
Right, it changes.
But also, it can't be a law because it changes depending on your mass, right, and your
Right.
velocity of movement as
Right.
you come. Because if I throw you out of a plane, you're going to go a lot faster than
Right.
if you just drop
Fall.
out of a plane, right?
Right.
So the velocity matters, the mass matters, the density, but also the humidity of the air matters on how fast you're going
Absolutely.
to fall, the impact, all that. So I guess it is kind of a law when you look at all, if you're able to measure all those other things, but buoyancy also matters. If
Well, to
you're-
me,
you're
a
not
law
feather-
is constant, right? So, if gravity is a law, then it's in my mind, and I'm a peon brain. It's a constant everywhere. Well, we know that that's not true.
It's not a constant. We only know of 2 areas on Earth that were measured in the 70s that are not a constant gravitational pull that coincides with the rest of the Earth. And even the rest of the Earth is off on the measurements by like point something, right? So
Right.
it can be a little bit off in Missouri than it is in Florida. But it's by point something. Now those measurements, I don't know when those measurements were taken. When I looked at this, it's been years since I've looked at it. But I think the one place was either in New Zealand or Australia, and the other place was in Canada. I know Canada for a fact. I don't remember the other one. But those were like a major difference.
Right.
And they didn't take this measurement one time and write it down and were like, oh, we're good. We got what we need. No,
Yeah,
like
right,
they
right,
measured
right,
it in
right.
several different places. They measured it in all kinds of ways to figure it out. It's not like they just do it one time, get on the ship,
Right.
and go, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you can dismiss, and that's what these guys are doing, is they're dismissing everything that Terrence Howard has done. I mean, literally, they're dismissing everything.
Yeah. So if you look back at frequency, though, vibrations, that vibrations can move move something that they
Yes.
can work against the gravity. That's kind of amazing.
It is. Well, I told you that there's that university, I think it's Stanford, that those college kids came up with a fire extinguisher that's frequency. It's just sound, and it puts a fire out.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's totally awesome. The other thing is cancer cells. Now you'll be hard pressed to find this, because if it works, nobody wants you to know that this works, but there's a company out there that is using frequency to literally obliterate cancer cells.
I think wasn't he talking about that on the podcast, or was it?
I don't know.
Somebody else.
I didn't finish the podcast, so
It might not have been that one, but there was somebody else that was talking about that too. That I heard that they have that they've experienced that yeah, we have the possibility
right.
to completely get rid of cancer cells within the body, but they're not allowing the technology to go further yet.
Correct. No, I mean, why would they? I
can't remember who talked
Look,
about
the
it.
reality of it is, and the topic that we were trying to cover is the Antichrist, but
Yeah, no, and we're getting there.
We're getting there.
We're actually getting there. You don't even realize. I had a rebuttal to that, but what were you gonna say?
no, what was your rebuttal? Because I don't know where I was going.
Oh, okay. Well, so we're talking about the Antichrist.
I think that somebody like Terrence Howard could definitely.
Actually, what you said was TerrenceOward is the Antichrist.
I was
Not quite like that.
I was being a little sarcasm. I'm like, I know who this Antichrist is, because
Yeah.
this guy is he's just so
Yeah.
nice, and he's so appealing, and I just think that that's going to be what the Antichrist is going to be in the beginning. He's going to just
It could have been Obama.
bring peace.
In the beginning,
Fuck Obama.
hey. I voted for Obama, okay?
You are a jackass.
His first term, I definitely voted for him because
God, how are
he
we
spoke.
friends?
He's still the best speaking president we've ever had. Okay,
I'll
can't
give
take
him
that away from him.
I'll give him that.
He's-
He's a very good.
He has
You mean
spoken
you
better
don't-
than any other
You
president.
think he was
but
better than Trump?
no, in the beginning, I was also 22 years old and didn't know what the hell I was doing in my life
Right.
when I voted for him.
Does Carlos know that you were a libtard?
I voted for him because he just seemed like the better candidate back then, and I didn't know what I was doing. But then his second term, I definitely did not vote for that guy.
Right.
Like when I started to look at politics, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Going back to the Antichrist thing. So what I believe is the Antichrist. I don't even believe it's a who. I believe it's a thing. Now you tell me.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hear me out. Artificial intelligence. Just think about it for a second. It has read the word. It has read God's word. It reads all the other history books that are out there that exist in the world and can see how they coincide with each other.
The Antichrist is going to have to bring peace. It's going to have to be a human being.
AI right now cannot do that, but AI in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years might be able to do that. Just think about it.
I'm trying.
What
but it doesn't.
if the Antichrist is AI, not a human being?
Well, I think that here's the problem.
At one point, AI is going to rule us.
No.
We're not going to be able to rule AI.
I'm going to give you. I'm looking up a scripture, and I'm going to refute that, and you're going to be like, "Fuck."
Will I?
Yeah. You
Or will I argue it like I always do?
You always do, but
It doesn't mean I'm right, but I will argue.
I can't even see this. Gotta put glasses in. So, okay, a lot of people are like, okay, when's the Antichrist coming? Here, this is my rebuttal. A lot of people are like, when's the Antichrist coming? When's he coming? Well, the devil doesn't know when Christ will return. And that's the key factor in the Antichrist rising up to power, right? It's the key factor. I don't know that there's anybody that disagrees with that. Of course, you might, just to piss me off.
I'm still listening.
Right? So, the devil doesn't know that. Now, 1,000 years ago, which would have been 1025, is that right? 1024?
Mm-hmm.
We were in the end times, the end of days, or whatever, biblically, because they've been in that since Christ left. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So the devil not knowing, why would he be preparing an Antichrist every generation? So here's what it says in the Word. Little children, it is the last time. And as you have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now there are many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. So the devil is preparing an Antichrist in every generation because he does not know when Christ will return. Therefore, there's an Antichrist that existed in the year 1025.
But the way that I've always read that was the Antichrist in that verse is anybody who's against, like you have agnostics and then you have atheists, right? To me, agnostics, like they believe in a higher being, but they don't know what that being is. But atheists are against.
Right.
Like you have that, who's that one really popular one that always gets, that's always in a debate now? He's always debating somebody.
I don't know.
Oh, but to me, he's an antichrist because he's completely against the idea of Christ. So there's always an antichrist. I agree with that.
Well, it says that the Antichrist.
But the antichrist.
So, but that's what that's talking about. So there is the spirit of Antichrist.
Yeah.
Where it says that anyone that does not believe that Jesus has come in the flesh, Jesus Christ, it says Jesus Christ. If they don't believe that Jesus Christ came in the flesh, it is spirit of Antichrist. So, is it the atheist? Yes, of course. But we've got to remember that the Bible's not talking about, it's not even speaking to the atheist. It's speaking to those that believe. So...
No, but your neighbor might be an atheist.
But if you what's that?
So your neighbor might be the atheist. So
right, but it's not
even,
it's not referring to him. It's not even talking about him. It's talking about the Jews. Jewish people.
Oh my God, now you're talking about the Jews.
Well, fuck, dude. Or the Muslims.
Oh, is it getting hot in here?
Or the Trinitarians. Because none of them believe that he came in the flesh. The Jewish people do not believe that Jesus came in the flesh.
No, of course.
The Muslims do not believe Jesus Christ, right? It's Jesus the Christ.
Well, they believe in him. They don't believe that he was a
but they don't believe that
son of God.
Right.
Yeah.
But the key is not the word Jesus or the name Jesus, but it's Jesus the Christ came in the flesh, right? So they don't believe that Jesus the Christ came in the flesh. The Trinitarians don't believe that Jesus Christ came in the flesh. They believe God came in the flesh. Mm-hmm. That's all spirit of Antichrist. Mm-hmm. I have 10 hours of teaching, by the way, on As It Is Written,
so you
357.com. That covers that.
I like how you plugged that in the middle of this podcast. So that says nothing against, that doesn't really refute that AI could be the Antichrist.
Do you want to know why it can't? Because the devil is preparing the Antichrist every generation.
It's preparing Antichrists.
Why would you need more than one?
But the one
unless he dies.
I'm talking about the one that could actually bring about world peace.
Yes, because let me just say, back in the year 1025, if Jesus Christ returned,
can you just tell me that it's possible, Aaron? It's
not possible.
It's not possible that AI can bring about world peace.
It's not possible that AI could be the Antichrist.
Damn it.
World peace, maybe, but not Antichrist.
Agree to disagree. I'm going to ask Neil deGrasse Tyson about
I
this.
just can't
I bet
agree.
you Elon Musk would say that the AI.
I would
is
love for Elon to give his thoughts on Terrence Howard. I would love for Elon to give his thoughts. Why are they keeping that so quiet? I mean, now everybody's coming out against him, but why? You know, that periodic table, why didn't I learn about that in school? Why wasn't that an option to learn about that? Why was it the only... You know, it's kind of like when I listen to Terrence Howard, this is the problem that I have, is that the church, since the first century, has been lying to us with all the councils. Council of Nicaea, Alexandria, Trent, Constantinople, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Right? Why would they not be lying to us? They lied to us about Nikola Tesla and all of the things that he did. So
and Henry Ford.
I think Henry Ford's along with
Henry Ford stole the plans from his brother. His brother died young.
But if you look at Edison and what he did and how he was against, I mean, look at hemp versus cotton. They shut that down immediately. Superior product. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying go out and do drugs.
Jesus.
But hemp is far better than cotton.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that if the Antichrist comes, or it's obviously going to be after Christ returns, but it's going to be somebody that has a compelling religion of its own. And people are moving away from Christianity. We see that all the time.
Scientology. What's the guy's name? David.
Tom Cruise?
No, the guy that leads Scientology. David.
That leads
Miscavige.
it? Oh, I don't know.
David Miscavige. The one whose wife went missing like 15 years ago, and they've still never
did he
found
kill
her.
her? Did he?
They don't know.
I'm pretty sure he killed her.
Apparently, he beats people in the congregation.
That's crazy.
It's pretty funny. I'd go to that church. The pastor hits people when they're doing wrong. I'd go to that church.
I would only go to that church if I could hit people.
Right? I want to take that guy's job.
That's right. Yep. I don't know. So, I mean...
would you punch Tom Cruise?
No, because he'd hit me back.
I'd definitely punch Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise would probably kick my ass in his old...
He goes skydiving too. I'd go skydiving with him and punch him in the air.
You know what? I got to give Tom... I don't agree with his philosophy in life, but I'll tell you that I got to give him credit for being one of the best actors that is out there.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and his
Absolutely.
endurance and to do all those stunts himself, and
Top Gun is still the best film. Top Gun.
I don't know, the second
Both of them. The second one was really good too.
The second one's amazing, I think.
What was that race car movie that he did?
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Yeah, I
Love
like that
movie.
one a lot too. I don't know how we got on that.
The
topic.
Mission Impossible movies, like they're good, but they're just kind of hard to really.
No, dude,
it's
I
hard
love
for
them.
me to. It's hard for me to like stick to every single one of them. I watched the first one, loved it. The second one, loved it. After that, I was like, okay.
Emma and
that's
I did a
enough.
marathon the other day.
Did you?
Oh
Of all
my
the Mission
god! If you
Impossible
watch
movies?
them all in a row,
Yeah.
they're pretty intense. Yeah.
What was that movie that he did where he dressed? He had a weird costume and he was like dancing, like some rap video at the end of it. Dang it! It was a comedy.
I think I know what you're talking about, but
It was
I
a
don't think
comedy.
I watched it.
You didn't think it'd be him, but it was so funny. Yeah, whatever.
He's good, but so yeah, Antichrist. I don't know who it's gonna be. Nobody.
Maybe it's Tom Cruise.
Maybe it's Robert De Niro.
Nah.
But did you hear what Robert De Niro did?
Yeah, about Trump.
Fucker.
I thought that was an old video though. It
You
just
know, he
kinda
used to be a
resurfaced.
good actor, but now he's just a hag for the Democratic Party. He's a libtard.
I don't know if he's been in anything recently. Didn't he just have a kid?
Fuck, I don't know.
Didn't he just get somebody knocked up?
Why is it that they're coming out against Trump the way that they're coming out with Robert De Niro to fight for their battles?
Mm-hmm.
Because Joe can't stand up straight? Maybe he's smelling little girl's hair. I don't know.
Jesus.
Well, did he...
That hits you hard, doesn't it? Because you have no hair. If Biden could smell your hair, you'd be okay, and you would never make that comment. But you have no hair.
I don't have any hair. That might be true. I don't know. But he is a little bit of a pedophile. He got away with a lot of shit, dude. I mean, and look at what they're hammering Trump on. They don't even know what Trump is guilty of. They don't even know what the charges are.
I don't know. I really haven't followed it. I think it's... I've heard everybody else talking about it.
I don't know. I'm voting for Biden again. Fuck it.
I'm going to vote for Obama.
Michelle? So...
Michael.
Michael, I guarantee you... I mean, what do you think is going to happen? You know, at that convention, because they pick their nominee at the conventions,
Yeah.
right? So I think Michelle's coming out. I think Michelle Obama is going to be. She's going to come out and be like, "I got to save this country. I got to save our democratic, country, even though it's a republic."
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? You don't fucking care, do you?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Because I never even get upset. I don't care who the president is because that means we got 4 years of bullshit. But after that, it's going to go right to the opposite person. That's at least what I thought. Until now, they're just...
I just don't think that...
Everybody knew that Trump was going to win this election. Everybody knew. Last year...
Oh, they would have put money on it, too.
They knew last year that Trump was going to win this next election. And then they get him locked up. That's crazy to me. And I would have voted for anybody else other than Trump who, made sense and had the right plans and the right ideas.
But nobody did.
Well, we had people come forward, but they didn't stick it out. Like Ramaswamy. I would have voted for that guy.
See, fuck that guy. Because that guy...
DeSantis, I would have voted for DeSantis.
I would have voted for DeSantis, but Ramaswamy... I always said Ramaswamy. Fuck that guy. He's not a Christian, and I'm not going to vote for somebody that's not a Christian, and his values are fucked up. And his value... The reason I say that is, in that Hindu religion, they welcome anybody.
Yeah, but his values support your values.
They don't, though.
Yes,
because I believe that our country was founded on Christian values.
He doesn't have, to me, he doesn't have to be a Christian. He just has to at least respect my religion and my values.
The problem is I'm diehard constitutionalist, where I believe that having those Christian values means something. And being a Christian means something versus, we allow everything. That's like the Unitarian Universalists that allow all the bullshit.
No, it means something to me and it means something to you, but I can't push that on somebody else.
But that's what this country was founded on, whether anybody likes it or not, man.
That's what it was founded on, but we've gotten so far away from that now that we have to do the best that we can with what we got.
But I think that we got to fight to get back.
Because Aaron, we can't, because then you have to get back to the point where you have to say, okay, fine, no more blacks here.
No, you're right.
No more blacks. Let's go back to slavery.
Yeah, I don't
So
buy
you have
that.
to be very careful when you say, I want it to be back the way it used
bullshit.
to be.
No,
it's not bullshit. You have to be very careful about how you want it to be.
No.
Because the Constitution has been, not Constitution, but the amendments have been kind of rewritten.
No, hold on a minute, though. This is where I disagree with you, because Washington fought against slavery, right? They were fighting against slavery.
Yeah.
If you read the Constitution, the original draft, Glenn Beck has it.
Right.
Not the one that we have today. They were fighting against slavery.
But you have to rewrite the First Amendment in order to get it back. You'd have to put the words in there correctly to get it back to where you're talking about.
No. I'm talking about...
we were founded on the freedom of religion.
Right.
At a time when the only religion that existed was Catholicism and
no, they just wanted to be
what
able
was the Protestants. Catholicism and Protestants.
But they just wanted to be able to worship God freely.
Right.
And they're not... So they never
That was the Protestant side. The Catholics wanted you to do it their way.
But here's the thing.
They didn't have Muslims back then.
No, I get that. They never had in mind...
Well, they had Muslims. Just
they never had in mind Islam. They never had in mind Hinduism. They never had in mind
the
Buddhism.
founding fathers. because they were not
in this country.
They were just Protestants and Catholics.
But that's what we need to get back to.
Right, we have to make sure that we're clear on that. That we're not saying there was no Islam.
The problem is, so a number of years ago, I told my wife, I said, there's 3 infiltrations of unbelief in this country that are going to lead to our downfall. Number 1 is they waved the rainbow flag at the White House. I believe we surrendered our country spiritually to homosexuality, right? That is an abomination in God's word. And, okay, it's a tough subject. So how do you handle it with a homosexual that claims to be Christian? Well, you handle it according to God's word. It is men with men doing that which is unseemly, women with women doing that which is unseemly. It's not godly, and they're not born that way. You teach them the accuracy and integrity of God's word, which very few people are doing, without bashing them over the head with guilt, right? Condemnation. That's fucked up. We got to stop doing that to people. We got to love them and teach them accurately, right?
I agree.
So, otherwise, all we're doing is beating people up with the word, and that gets nowhere. Secondly, Islam, right? Do you want to know the number 1 reason why Islam, Islamists and Muslims will never agree with a Christian?
Because we eat hot dogs.
God, how did you guess that? That was just so amazing. No, that's not it at all. The Trinity. Because they can't see the Trinity
that was my second guess.
In any of it, right? Yeah. So the whole point is, it's not a triune God, and they can't see it, and I can't see it, and you can't see it, but Trinitarians see it. They find a way to make it fit, whatever. So, but the Muslims, that's another form of unbelief that's infiltrating our country at a rapid pace. Why is it quiet right now? Why is nobody talking about what's going on with the Muslim community and the growth? It's pretty quiet right now. Overall, that whole thing. And there's a third one that I can't remember right now. But just those 2. Then so Biden waved that flag first. Then Biden waved it.
Oh, you mean Obama waved it first?
Obama. Yeah. Obama waved that flag at the White House first, the rainbow flag.
Yeah.
And then you know what else Obama did? He had the head of the Muslim Brotherhood to dinner at the White House. What the fuck? So then you move forward, and in God's word, when you see something done twice, when it's written down twice, it's established. So then Biden fucking waves the rainbow flag again at the White House. They surrendered our country spiritually over to the devil when they did that, in my opinion. I can't remember right now what that third one is. I used to have that on here. Let me see. How do you spell infiltration?
Ask Malik. He's good at spelling.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Yeah, I don't have... Okay, so this is what I wrote. I wrote this back in 6/15 of 2023. Somewhere along the line, I would think that we would have to go back to some kind of a religious war in order for all this shit to play out, right? Biblically speaking, you know what I mean? Doesn't it have to go back to a religious war? Religious war. Like, the U.S. is not even going to be involved. We're not even going to be a factor, I don't think, in the end times. Many people don't think we're going to be a factor in end times. We'll be wiped off the face of the map.
Possibly, the way it's going.
So we're talking about somewhere down the line, this has to get back to a religious war. We know that the church and the state mingled together for a long, long time, right? They were intertwined throughout history. The church and the government, the church and the state, church and the government, they were intertwined throughout.
So what?
Somewhere that separated in history, right? You go back to the 1500s, and the church and the government, they're entwined. Somewhere that separated after the 1600s, right? Where now they don't even consider the council of the churches. Now, I mean, to the extent that they did back then. Maybe they do.
I think it was writing in there the separation of church and state. I think it started to get separation of church and state. Like they understood what that meant when they first wrote that down, and then people started playing on it like, "Oh, we can't say anything because we're not the church. Oh, we can't say anything because we're not the state." You know, and it kind of like gradually got further and further away, which is what I believe happened with our country being founded on being on Christian values, and then we kind of slowly came away because you could kind of twist that wording a little bit of freedom of religion. I don't believe that we were founded on the freedom of all religions. We were founded on the freedom of practicing the religion.
Right.
Right? Which is, I believe that's what you believe too. Because only because if you look at all the people that signed it, what were their religions?
And it was all Christian.
They were all in either Catholic or Protestant. They were all Christian.
But all Christian, yeah.
And so, yeah. So
I don't think they had in mind anything else.
No. I don't think they were influenced by anything else. There was no, like, they knew about the Islam cultures because they were still an aftermath of the Crusade Wars. Like, they still understood.
So the Crusaders, we don't even talk about the Crusaders.
No.
And what their purpose was. Their purpose was to annihilate the freaking Muslims.
Yeah.
I mean, that you can barely even find that information anywhere.
Yeah, because they lost. They're still Muslims, so they're fucking losers.
So
you can't even get rid of all of them.
So what if, this is what I wrote down, what if in order to have a religious war, because I think we've got to go back to a religious war.
So who would it be? Scientology versus...
Oh my God, talking to you.
Pastafarianism. Spaghetti God, the spaghetti monster in the sky. Versus Scientology. Who would you vote for?
I would vote for Tom Cruise.
Scientology?
Hell yeah.
It's probably a smart bet.
Hell yeah. So what if, in order to have a religious war, because I think that's where it's got to go back to, for the Antichrist to come into play.
Yeah.
Because he's got to bring peace in a false religion. Right? He's going to die and be resurrected. At least according to the movies. Does that say that in the Bible? I think it does. Anyway, I did not know that. Maybe I've had a little bit too much. Yeah, it's a good place to end it, isn't it?
You know, we didn't answer much tonight. But we gave a lot to think about.
Yeah, a little bit.
If you have any answers, let us know. Probably won't read them.
Yep, I think that's good. Great talk. Till next time. Black Sheep Christians out.
Beware, beware, be skeptical.